It is July 14th, 2023. Again, and again, and again. It happens. Alright. I went out and I walked in the park this morning. And, then I went up to work in Hartville. And I pull in this back allotment, I have to pull in this allotment and then I pull in this back parking spot. And walk to my client's apartment. And, people are off in the bushes. They hide in the bushes. The people that were hired to protect her, we found out it was them doing it to her. I know, nobody say a word. Ah! I'm like, really? Yeah. I go over to Akron, and all kinds of cars are driving by. And my client's husband, he's like, people are using this for a cut through. And I'm like, well, this guy drove by with a cowboy hat on. And I thought, I hope you are not with that one guy that had a cowboy hat on and horseshoe earrings. And it was a son with dark hair and a cowboy hat. Because they're one of the main human traffickers. That means they're here. That's how not funny it is. Because if that's him with this cowboy hat, because they ran around and they were bragging they were human trafficking in front of people. Okay. Alright. I go down to Maslin. Of course, a couple of people want to say some stuff, so I played my last tape. My car's bugged. Those ladies sold it. They admitted they sold it. They're doing the FBI to fix it. They hacked into the federal government's database and sold it. That means, did they get into another informant case? Did they get into anybody else's privilege information? Any other, and sell it? Because they got into mine and sold it. They laughed that Eric really did steal the money from my case. That means either John redirected it to him, FBI agent John, that they fooled, or they got in there and they're stealing money from the feds too. Okay? So, I play my tapes, then statement, da-da-da-da-da. Well, everybody scatters. I drive myself home. I get home and some of the I stopped at a friend's house first. And I come home and some of the neighbors were laughing. They said it actually was those ladies. They did sell the FBI case. Or they did sell the case. We found the tape of them admitting it. See my phone spot. FBI informant. See, I called the FBI. I called the hotline. The agent that called me back, it was verified by officers. He was the one up at Apostolic Church of Barberton telling on me before I called him back. My ex-husband told our youngest son, Danny, he talked to him, and cops, there was at least 2 or 3 cops up there, and they seen him telling me before I called him back. That's why when I tried to tell him, somebody told him the night before he called me a liar because it was him. Okay? And then people up in Akron around my client's house, the neighbors went over and talked to him. They all seen him tell on me. Okay? And that's where June 7th, 23, Walmart 62, Lighthouse Tabernacle lasted FBI agent John for falling for their stunt of the tapes before, that it was only a stunt, and mocking him and calling him out, laughing at him, ha ha ha, he actually fell for it. It's the 4th Amendment over the House. Police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life with statements, okay? And it's entrapment. And if attorney tapes you unaware in your home, they lose their license, they go to jail, and they have to compensate you. If a police or agency do it, they lose their badge and they go to jail, and for every constitutional right broke, it's 1 to 10 years and like a $10,000 fine. You also have the right to remain quiet and a right to attorney. You also have a right to privacy over your home. That's where I spoke to officers. It is a Fourth Amendment. The right of the people to be safe and secure in your own person. That's your own surrounding, your places, your homes, your papers and effects against all unreasonable searches or seizures shall not be violated. Your home can't be violated. A retired judge in a drug cartel cannot break in your home and stalk you, let alone drug you up, Photoshop you, drug you with amnesia drugs, tell you to say something, leave you bruised, infected, hear the human trafficking me out of that house, and I'm bruised, throwing up, headache, severe personal infection, and I don't know what's wrong with me because they're amnesia drugs. It's not funny doing that to a human being. And that severe call messed up with it. Okay? That's where those ladies on July 9th, 23, Trinity Gospel, they're right behind me. And they said, we told Melissa to stay out of this. Melissa's a documented liar from the place. And so are her kids. And they were only making stuff up because of the divorce. And they were only wrote up that they were showing off with the girlfriend. My whole family spoke highly of me. And they didn't know about Dave and the drug cartel. They would go to jail for accessory. Okay? Those ladies are in the Trinity Gospel, July 9th, 23, sitting right behind me. And they're like, we told Melissa to stay out of this. We already made enough money of the sell and login and from the case. They admitted to selling it. They admitted to wiretapping the FBI. And selling it. I'm like, oh my God. You know you just said you sold it, and you know my phone's tapped. So everybody you sold it to, you just confessed. And then they said, we heard it was a retired Judge Pete in her home before. What was he thinking? He didn't have no authority to be in her house. He's only going to go down for this. I thought, he ain't the only one, stupid. And they were talking about some other stuff and said, you know what, the FBI wouldn't dare fix this after what one of their agents did. You're in their computers and they wouldn't dare fix it. And that one guy did steal all the money. So either FBI agent John that they mocked, that they fooled him with some stunts I've taped before where up in Akron, the cops that were up there talking to the thing that months ago, he better not have known about him. Well, Lighthouse on June 7th, 23. FBI agent John fell for the stunt of the tapes before. Oh, come on now. He actually fell for that. It was just a stunt. It was a satanic stunt. Kicking in my door, setting up button cameras, selling me and Dave in bed on porn sites, selling me in the shower, and then photoshopping the shower scenes, clicking and pasting. And then having them date rape drugging me, Asia drugged me. I'm running to the bathroom, throwing up, migraine headaches, almost passing out, have bruises all over me, and then a severe personal infection seen by Altman family physicians, and they called it a stunt. They human trafficked me, and they called it a stunt. And drugged me up and told me to say stuff, and they called that a stunt. He actually fell for it? Oh, come on, that agent actually fell for the stunt I tased before? You're kidding. John actually fell for it? That FBI agent John fell for it? June 7th, 23, Walmart 62, by the ladies' bathroom. Other investigators already pulled it. We found the tape of them mocking. Okay? You don't think that they'll fix that? They're in their computers. And if John didn't give Eric that money and steal it from me and give it to him, that means they're into their bank accounts. Where my one coworker, where all the Florida police were, and we were working at a 2-client lift, and she was talking about a friend or a family member getting killed, taken by taken and then killed, and people mocking her, how they cut her up in pieces, and that's how she died. And I could hear in my head, it's funny they raped her. I looked at her, I said, people are sick. She said they kept laughing at me how she died. Showed me a picture. She was beautiful. And I said, well, you know that she lives in Louisville too. And I said, well, you know about the guy in the white van. How'd you know about the white van that took my family member? I'm like, oh my God, it's him. I took a deep breath and I said, did you know about the Florida plates that were here in Louisville? Yeah, I seen them. They were in the bars. And back then, her and her boyfriend went. And they were in there. I said, did you know about Henry Mopping? She said, sounds about right. He was with them. Show her the picture from Facebook. She said, that's not him, but he is with them. I'm like, oh my God. Tried to get a hold of me the first month. He said I was beautiful and kept trying to contact me. Okay? But I didn't tell her that. I took a deep breath and I said, they said they were a gentleman's club from Florida. She's like, no, they said they were the Detroit boys. And then she looked at me and said, I want you to tell me how you knew about the white van that took my family member. I changed the subject. What was I gonna say? I'm sorry they killed her? I'm sorry? My ex-hired under harm. What am I supposed to say? I would have lost it. I'm sorry, she said. I lost it with my house manager, Melissa. They took her keys. He's a serial killer in this area. See, I called the FBI. I told him about the guy. I told him about 80% of the stuff of the 4 attempts on my life, witnesses they saying that they were trying to kill me, people impersonating me, and then the Perry police reports, we'll have an agent call you back. And then they drugged me up for 3 days so I couldn't get out of bed, and then getting a hold of Sarah, one of my witnesses, of course I'll witness for you. I went and bought her card, went down and had Dave take me down to the mall before we went to church, and then went up to Apostolic Church of Barberton and Paul Bamer got in Dave's face. My God, I had an FBI agent in my office. He's right there. I walk off, and while he's still screaming at him, and that's when those women came out and started talking about he knew she was being drugged and being raped. He said he didn't care, and I walk off from him. And they're blaming Ron and his stupid lies. Estranged made up in 2003 so Dave could cheat. And he knows his lies. Okay? He's manipulating. And Dave comes in, let's go. And Dave threatens my life on the way home, and then I run from him. The next day I have to call that agent back. I tried to tell him somebody told on me did that church. He called me a liar because it was him. And it was verified by officers November 6, 22, that it was him. Okay? It was him. The agent that called her back is the one verified by officers that he told on her before she called him back on my road. And they walked out. And Dave told Danny to talk to him at that church, where I told him there was an agent up there. He called me a liar because it was him. I tried to tell him about the guy that tried to threaten to knife me at Giant Eagle, that he tried to kidnap me before he called me a liar. Terry let me tape her with her permission. He's the one that killed Lori's family member and took Melissa's niece. He's in it with the human traffickers. And he could have stopped this 5 years ago. Now we're 4th in the nation because it got set up in Ohio. He made me beg for my life, then listed me a foreman for life with $5,000 a month for life and immunity, even when I tell him that he flip-flopped. I never had to stay quiet. I told that man Dave already knew. So you're going to say he's incompetent? And he didn't find out Dave was having me drugged, beaten, raped, and human trafficked by the drug cartel? Or is it going to be just like they said, they fooled him with a stun of tapes before drug confessions and photoshopping a shower scene? Or he fell for Ron's pathetic lies. And he didn't bother to pull my medical history. And it was a medication error that made me that sick. The Those women were in Trinity Gospel admitting that they were the ones that hacked the FBI case. They were laughing at retired Judge Pete. Nobody had a right in my home before. I've talked to officers about it. We could never look or listen and be illegal to. Nobody had a right in home. Dave cannot hire a retired judge in the dark hotel to stalk me, drug me, beat and rape me, and Photoshop me. Nobody has a right to interfere in your life and stalk you. Oh, and the Detroit boys, I looked them up. They've went to jail for wiretapping. That's what it's considered. They've hacked into our federal government. Now they're daring the federal government to stop. I'm not nervous.